The Sports Talk, where all opinions are heard, but not always accepted. For the fans who live and die by their teams. For the fans who stay up for those extra innings. The city where going to work isn't just another phrase. Where we live and die by the next swing of the bat. Die-hard fans hate us and love us. But feelings have never been held back. You are listening to Detroit Sports Talk with Brett and JT. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is JT Smellick.
My name is Brett.
And today we're going to be diving in to some Lions. We're going to touch on the Tigers. And we're going to discuss the upcoming NBA draft. And we're going to bring up the Red Wings list. As you all know, the protection list came out today. And an interesting name got left off of it. So I think we're going to be discussing that a little bit later. But first off, I want to start with the Detroit Lions as, they made an interesting trade if you want to go a little bit more in-depth for us.
Yeah, so for you guys that haven't heard yet, Taylor Decker got hurt. He had to have surgery, and so he's going to be out about probably till about October-ish, they say.
And that's if everything goes as planned on recovery.
Right. And so we decided to, Bob Quinn decided to make a trade with the St. Louis Rams. Well, now they're not in St. Louis anymore, but he made a trade with the Rams, and he traded for a sixth round pick for an offensive lineman named Greg Robinson, who, if you guys know, was a second overall pick back in 2014. Had a lot of potential, a lot of high hopes for the kid. Never really lived up to it. Isn't terrible as an offensive lineman, but definitely isn't what he should have been for a number 2 pick. So for us, it was a good depth move for sure. Has a chance to compete for that starting spot until Decker gets back. And in my opinion, it was a really good move considering we only gave up a 6th round pick.
See, that's how I feel. It's like it's a very safe move you made. You've automatically added potential for a starter if a change of scenery can help him. And then you've also created, no matter what, more depth for your team because he's good enough to come off, do a few snaps, be on the practice squad at least.
Yeah.
And so he will contribute at some form in this season, and it will depend on how much we'll see as it goes on. But he can compete for that starting position for now while Decker's out. And so giving up a 6th round pick where some guys you'll never see their 6th round pick even take the field, he might be cut.
What was our 6th round pick? Couple years ago, what was it, that Jimmy Landis guy, that long snapper who just got released. So, I mean, for a 6th round pick, you can't complain. It's a low risk, high reward. So
exactly.
Definitely a smart move by Quinn, in my opinion.
I'm a big fan of that today. As we saw today as well, all the draft picks have officially been signed when Galloway finally got signed today. He was the final one. And so we're looking at the Lions roster right now that the trade's been made for Robinson. And so this is kind of going to be the roster that we're going to be seeing for this upcoming season. It should be a very interesting one. There's a lot of possibilities here. It's going to be really interesting when cuts start being made and what the opening day roster is going to be. I definitely think we're going to see a pretty interesting Lions team. No matter if they do good or bad, it will be an interesting team to break down the fundamentals and break it down position by position.
Yeah, and it seems like the Lions have a lot of positive thoughts and a lot of like I said, positive thoughts in their wide receiving core. I think they have a lot of potential. They're really putting their faith in them because they didn't go after Jeremy Maclin. And as we saw, Eric Decker just got signed yesterday by the Tennessee Titans. Who
I would have
a lot of people figured he'd be a great fit because he's such a big body. Yes, he's had a couple injuries, but he's capable of being a number 2 wide receiver. So what a lot of people envisioned us doing was signing Eric Decker, having him line up on the other side of Marvin Jones, and then moving Tate into the slot receiver where he is most comfortable and arguably is the best slot receiver in the entire league. So a lot of people would have liked to see that. It's not a huge deal, because we still, as we said, we have Kenny Galloway, so a lot of people have high hopes in him. But I think the Lions put a lot of faith in their wide receiving corps this season.
And you can't just think that the Lions didn't want him. Just
Yeah.
because we don't get him doesn't mean like they didn't want him. Like they could have called him for all we know. It could have been contract talks. Could have been not interested, not enough money. There's a lot of things that play a role into signing a player. So when fans bitch and complain about, why don't we get this guy? It's not that easy as just going and getting the guy, you know.
And plus, we still have Anquan Bolden on the free agent market if we ever needed somebody. And he did. I mean, I think he led the team in touchdowns last year, receiving touchdowns last year.
I'm really confused about what he's doing. I feel like
I think he's kind of...
he has to make up his mind.
It's almost like he wants the Lions or he wants to go to a team from his hometown, or if not, then he'll just get to choose retirement at this point.
No, I really think he has to make up his mind soon, though. I think that frustrates me. Like what do you do? Like especially right now with this late into the season for Anquan Bolden. What are you doing? Because I feel like if you're still thinking about retiring, then you're definitely not putting all your focus into football, which really worries me about bringing someone back when their mind... Like I want to know right away that you want to play, and then that way in the off season I can know that you're preparing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That worries me, but I mean, I would love to have him back. He's a veteran on the team, pretty reliable most of the time.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's get into a pretty big topic that I think you and me both want to touch on, and that is the Detroit Red Wings and their protection list for the expansion draft that's on Thursday is?
I'm not entirely sure which day
it's upcoming, but
I believe it's Wednesday. Actually.
Wednesday, okay.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, so Wednesday the expansion draft is for the
Las
Vegas Nuggets Knights. Sorry about that. Las Vegas Knights, and they chose. You have to choose a goaltender. And they made a pretty interesting move that I'm going to think not many fans thought of, but it passed my mind, and I just want to know your thoughts on it. Want to describe what happened there?
Right, so for the unprotected list, for the goaltenders, you can only keep one goalie. Some teams have two. A lot of teams have two. Occasionally you'll see a team that has three, but you could only keep one. So I'm just going to go over the protection list that the Red Wings have. Keep in mind, is their players that they chose to be protected. So for forwards, we have Justin Ablocator, Andres Athanasiou, Anthony Mantha, Franz Nielsen, Gustav Nyquist, Thomas Tatar, and Hendrik Zetterberg. And then for defensemen, Danny DeKeyser, Mike Green, and Nick Jensen. And then goaltender, we decided to go with Jimmy Howard. And then keep in mind, some of our younger guys, you have to play, I believe it was 2 full years in the league, else they can't be...
That is why Larkin is not on that list.
Correct. And then a couple of the key unprotected players are Luke Glendening, Darren Helm, Drew Miller, Riley Shahan, Jonathan Erickson, Nicholas Cronwall, and Xavier Outlet, and then Peter Mrazek. So a lot of you guys didn't seem to be so happy with Holland's thoughts on leaving Mrazek off the protected list and putting Howard there instead. So, in my personal opinion, I actually think Holland did the right thing here. A lot of you guys like Mrazek because he's young and he has a lot of potential, and Howard seems to get injured every year, and for some reason you guys don't think he does that well. But let me just read you this stat real quick here. So this is from the Detroit Free Press. It says, Howard is coming off a career best year with a 2.10 goals against average and a .927 save percentage in 26 games. And he was injured for about 3 months, but keep in mind, one of those injuries was not his fault, as one of the defensemen from the other team kind of rammed into him, and I forgot what kind of injury it was, but it was a pretty significant one. But anyways, he went on to play for the World Championship, started for Team USA, had a 1.86 goals against average and a .919 save percentage in 6 games. And then Mrazek had a career worst season with a 3.04 goals against average and a .901 save percentage in 50 games. Mrazek also went on to play for the World Championship and posted a 2.47 goals against average and a .881 save percentage. So, as you can see by those stats, Howard is clearly the better goaltender. If he can stay healthy, I definitely think Holland made the right move here. I think if you put Howard on the unprotected list and put Mrazek on the protected list, I think they would definitely not even hesitate and take Howard. Mrazek, I'm honestly not entirely sure if they'll even take Mrazek, to be honest.
I don't think they will.
Especially with him next year, somebody will have to pay him it's either 1.5 or 2.5 million cap hit. And if he has another season like he did this past season, he definitely won't be worth it. So I think Holland made the right choice here in choosing Howard.
And I really do like seeing Howard do so good last season because I feel like both goalies get too much heat on the goals because, God, their defense is disgusting. Their Red Wings have such a bad defense.
Right, yeah, and keep in mind that the Red Wings defense has been one of the worst in the past number of seasons, so Howard has to deal with that as well.
And that's why I'm so disappointed that Danny DeKeyser is on that list of being protected, because that contract, it's not a good contract. I don't know the exact numbers, but we gave him a lot.
Yeah, we did.
And he doesn't do much for the team, and I would have loved to see them, get some salary cap off of Holland's plate. Get rid of a subpar defenseman. Holland knows he messed up. We know he messed up. And so I would just like to see... I don't think they would have taken him if they left him off the list. To be honest, I don't think they're going to touch many Red Wings players. I feel like Red Wings fans have this, feeling right now. They're like, oh, my God, they're going to pick from our list. It's like, You got to realize, man, when you look at it from from inside the circle, when you're, the hometown... You look at all these guys, so much talent and potential when you watch them every night, but there are a lot of really good players around the league.
Right. And a lot of people from other cities don't even know who these players are, but you guys think are just so good.
Glenn Denning, I think he plays really good defense.
Yeah.
But he doesn't score.
Right.
He gets assists, but that's it. So I feel like with him being, I'm pretty sure he's left off that list, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So, he's not going to get touched. I know for a fact he will not get touched because no one knows who he is. It took him forever to score a goal last year.
Right.
And I just don't think he's going to get drafted. And, that's probably one of our better defensemen. And so, I don't know. I'm not that worried, to be honest. I feel like maybe one, maybe two players would be taken. So,
And plus, as you guys saw this past week, or 2 weeks ago, the Grand Rapids Griffins actually won their cup down there. So, obviously, we have a lot of young talent down there that can... kind of develop into something well, as we've seen over the last number of years. So I'm not too worried. I think Holland made the right moves here. Honestly, I can't. Holland's made a lot of mistakes over the last number of years. He's done a lot of good things.
I want him gone.
In his early years. Definitely a lot of bad things over the past 5-6 years. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing him leave either, but I do agree with him for this list.
I do too. For most of it. In the end, I feel like none of it will matter, really. Right. The Howard thing was the only thing that I thought could have mattered.
Yeah, the only thing people are mad at is the Howard Mrazek, and I think you got it right.
And, you know who Mrazek just reminds me of so much is James McCann for the catcher for the Tigers. Avila reminds me of Howard. McCann reminds me of Mrazek. And I feel like we see similar things from both sides, It's a really easy comparison with the young guy compared to the more of the veteran style. One gets hurt a little bit more, but he's doing a lot for the team. You see flashes from the young guy in Mrazek and McCann, but then as we saw this year, McCann just fell last year. He fell off.
Yeah, after that injury,
hitting poorly. He's great defensively, but that weighs as much as it can weigh. There comes a time where you have to hit. And so I just really feel like it's an interesting comparison because everyone's always behind Mrazek and McCann. They're always like, oh, yeah, that's our future right there. I don't understand how someone can just feel that it's the future of the team when you just watch them for such a short amount of time. I just find it very frustrating that people just assume something like that. Because for all I know, McCann could be getting dealt at the end of the year. Mrazek might not be signed for another year. So those two things hand in hand, I just really struggle with people having the misconception that Avila should be gone and Howard shouldn't be here, or have the roles flipped. Who's ever playing the best man, that's who I want. A flash in the pan doesn't just... oh, yep, you're up, man. You're the best player. You're going to be starting for the next 6 years. I don't like that mentality at all.
Right, and Mrazek, really, if you really look at the stats, he had one good postseason when Howard was hurt, and then he kind of came in.
It wasn't even that great of a postseason, but he had shutouts, and that was the stat everyone.
And he was doing better than Howard, so we kept him in there. But that's why everybody likes Mrazek so much. If it wasn't for that, Mrazek wouldn't even really be a name that people bring up. So... Again, I think Holland got it right.
Yeah. All right. So there's been talks about this Tigers team, right? We're getting to a point where something's got to change, all right? So you and me both agree they're not making the playoffs. We can agree on that.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean they just need to stop competing, because you can't trade anything, so you need the best product out there until you can trade.
And you got to get ticket sales in.
Exactly. So you need a reason for this team to be relevant. And that's one thing I can't stand is, well, they're not making the playoffs anyway, so why does it care? Why does it care? Because these are people, they're getting paid to do this. They're making money, so I expect the best product on the field.
Right.
And we have now seen multiple things happen with Brad Ausmus, and it doesn't seem like they're big. Sometimes it seems like it's more the player's fault, but these things are really starting to add up to me, and I feel like it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue. Recently, Brad Ausmus was asked about Miguel Cabrera and his lack of power, and Brad said, quote, "Nothing is wrong with Miguel Cabrera. He's playing healthy." And then after the game, Miguel was talking to a reporter, and he said, I've been playing injured for the past, since the World Baseball Classic. I've had a bad back, and then he's battling other injuries with his legs, or his knees, his shoulders, his hips. And for Miguel to say that literally a few hours before Ausmus said that, those things are weird. I feel like, okay, the clubhouse has always seemed to have his back, Brad's. The players have always seemed to like him. I don't get that sense this year. I feel like they're really starting to get disconnected. I don't know if it's the players not liking him, or if it's Brad just not liking them anymore, or they're just both having problems with each other. And then K-Rod comes out. And K-Rod hasn't been good at all this year. And he comes out with a comment saying, "I'm not happy with my mop-up role." And this is the part that really got me, was he said that Brad hasn't talked with me about what's going on with me here, if this is permanent, or if I'm going to be going back to the closer role. And now, first off, I think we can both agree K-Rod was out of line to say something like that and sound arrogant, like it should be given that.
Correct.
And then, but at the same time, I like seeing the hunger out of him. But that following night, it's like, hey, all right, you just said that, you can go back it up. He goes out there, gets shelled.
Yep.
So that he looks terrible for that. And then the third incident, which I just thought was really funny, was the whole V-Mart thing. Oh, V-Mart has statistically a career average for on base, or not career average, the league average for on base. He has a league average for on base percentage. He is, out of every 4-spot hitter, he ranks dead last in slugging out of every 4-spot hitter. That's a pretty eye-opening stat. And then Ausmus gets asked, he goes, well, do you think maybe it'd be time to move V-Mart or something? And he legit goes, no, he hits home run. We need home runs. We live by the home run ball. Your 2 home run hitters are after him. Now, I've talked to people, and I've had people tell me that, it doesn't matter. The Tigers aren't that good. That's not going to fix it. But if you have a chance to make your lineup stronger, get more runs in, why aren't you doing it?
Right.
JD should be in that 4 spot.
Totally agree.
Upton could be in that 4 spot. They're hitting home run. They hit with power. If he gets a single, like V-Mart seems to only know how to do, that's going to be 3 more singles, and then he'll be in home plate and score. So why aren't you getting someone who's a little bit quicker on the bases, someone who can slug, and someone who can give your starting lineup a better chance at winning? So now he's getting more, I almost feel like with all these incidents, I feel like something's wrong here, where he's just literally saying, final year of my deal, fuck it, he doesn't care, I don't care anymore, this lineup sucks, I don't really care. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I agree. I honestly think that JD and V-Mart should be swapped. I think the main reason why he keeps Vmart there is because it's tough to put him anywhere else, to be honest, and he's a switch hitter.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think those are the only two reasons why.
I also feel like it has something to do with being a veteran and Vmart's ego. He's already very pissed off about...
Yeah, he makes excuses about how field's too far, so all these are just pop-ups. And it's like, the thing is, it's like, you're not even hitting him out there most of the time, so it doesn't even matter.
Have you seen... Okay, so he said, with my home runs at... Oh, I can't hit the ball out at Comerica. On the road, he has 3 home runs. At home, he has 2. So, I mean, that's a 1 home run difference, and I feel like either way, it doesn't matter where you're hitting right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, that wasn't made an excuse last year or the year before, so it's like all of a sudden it's an excuse just because you're doing bad now.
Exactly.
It's definitely age is getting to him, injuries are getting to him. It's been that way. We're going to ride out his contract, and then he's going to be gone after that. But I definitely think Vmart and JD is to be switched. If anything, it gives JD a better chance to up his stock. So what we should be doing is looking to trade him, like most people are already saying we're going to. So why not up his stock even more and hopefully get even better prospects in return? Because now you give him more RBI opportunities and give him more chances than batting in the 5th spot.
Yes.
Right, because if Vmart's getting out most of the time in the 4th spot, then JD is usually coming up with nobody on or one person on. And it's not the same.
Home run, yep.
Right. I mean, he's got all these home runs, and if you look at his RBIs, they're actually pretty low.
Yeah,
granted, he hasn't played a lot of games, but if you just look at the
RBIs
home runs and the RBIs, it's like, wow, he should have more RBIs.
Yeah.
Right. So I definitely think those should be switched. Honestly, with the whole Ausmus thing, I definitely think it's time for him to go. He hasn't, like you said, he's not really communicating with his players.
From what we know, because once again, we can't figure out anything to go about. Ausmus says it's all fine, he communicates.
Right, and usually you don't, like, as a manager, you're not going to just go out and say, yeah, he's playing injured or whatever, because you want the player to kind of say, it's their body, so they know it best, obviously. But at the same time, to say he's completely healthy,
exactly,
and then have Miggy say he's not, like you said, it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you just look at that right there, it obviously looks like he's not talking. And I don't know if that's because, it's just they're getting sick and tired of each other. I think the losing plays a big factor into it. They haven't made the playoffs in the past 2 seasons, so it's like, I don't know. I think you need to just blow it up, honestly. He wasn't the right manager to begin with. We gave him a shot. It really didn't work out. It obviously didn't work out. And he made the postseason his first year, and he hasn't made it since.
He was given the postseason,
right?
For sure. But what I'm finding really interesting is I don't want to say this because I don't feel like it could happen, but it could happen. This road trip, if they do horrendous, we're almost to where they said if we're not above 500 at the end of the month, we're gonna sell. And so we could maybe not see Ausmus return to Comerica Park. I mean, there is a small possibility.
Yeah, I think it's small, but you never know.
Yeah, he could be fired. And I mean, I don't understand why you don't just do this, all right? So you promote McClendon from the pitching staff, right? You have him just be your interim skipper until you can hire someone new. But what bad could possibly come out of firing him? You could either A, get a spark, B, get a real lineup out there, which doesn't require Vmart to have God telling him he can't play for a few days to get someone else in that 4 spot. I don't understand. The only thing I could see wrong is chemistry, which apparently there's nothing going on there because the team doesn't look like they have chemistry. You have players saying they don't talk to him, and so he's not doing his job from what it seems like he's doing. So I feel like you got 2 weeks, do it. Because I feel like he's not going to...
It's not going to change anything.
It's not, but it could. If you have a chance to do it, while I don't think it would change anything...
No, I'm saying in a good way. It's not going to change. It's not going to hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Why not just do it?
It can't. You could only get something positive. Oh, what? Well, you're not going to play good? You haven't been playing good all year. You're 4 games below 500. Right. Jesus Christ. And then, it's so frustrating with... This general or this manager who just you keep you
give him every excuse in the book.
I had someone tell me during their nice the 13-4 win they had over the Rays, and they said oh man, Ausmus managed a great game. How? He put the right pitchers in, and you give Ausmus blame when they lose. I was like, I don't give Ausmus blame. I only give Ausmus blame if he puts in an incorrect pinch hitter or an incorrect player out of the bullpen. That's when I give him blame, or he does something stupid. And then, so I was like, tell me, what did he do during that win? He goes, oh, he put the right guys in. I was like, well,
It's like, well, I could have done that.
well, I could have written that. You
Right.
you were up by almost double digits.
Right,
Jesus
you
Christ, I
could
could
have left the
written that.
ballpark at that point. You're still going to get the win.
I know. I don't understand. I told him, I was like, you tell me when we're in a one-run game. You show me when he does something where you just applaud and we get the W from that. That's when I'll give him credit.
And another thing is, for Osmus's fault here, as I don't know if you guys have heard, but guess who's starting the game? What is it, today or tomorrow?
It is tonight, baby.
Tonight.
The Black Rider has come to save the team. The Dark Knight has returned to Gotham. It is time. Anibal Sanchez, after being demoted to AAA Toledo, he is going to return. He got bombed in Toledo, but it is time for him to save. He is the hero we need. He is returned, and he's starting tonight against the Seattle Mariners, 10 o'clock start time on the road.
Yeah, honestly, I don't understand. I mean, 6-man rotation for this. If you're gonna have
bring Boyd up,
right?
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
at this point, what does Sanchez have to prove? I know Rod Allen said something yesterday, kind of similar. Like the only thing that could be really showing here is that maybe a team has interest in him for some odd reason, and maybe said, "Well, we want to see him, one more big league start to kind of see what he does." And of course, we're obviously rooting for him. We want him to do well, but let's
be realistic.
Yeah,
here.
it's like if you go down to Toledo. Well, first off, you struggle in the big leagues. Then you get sent down to Toledo. I mean, I respect him for accepting his role and doing that.
Yep.
But you go down to Toledo and you're still getting bombed. It's like
he has like a 5 ERA in 4 games.
It's like, dude, come on. I don't understand why he's even pitching tonight. I mean, it's almost like you're just ready to take the loss, honestly. You're going to put a ton of stress on their bullpen, which hasn't even been good the month of June.
Yep.
So honestly, I don't even know what the point is.
You see, a Farmer struggling last night. Bullpen comes in, has to spend a ton of innings. Right. Oh, and here's your gift for working all those innings is you get to do it again the following night. So I just can't wait. It's going to be a wonderful night of baseball. And I feel like Al Avila is giving this to Osmus. I feel like he's the one pulling the string here. But at the same time, I mean, I can't pick who to blame. So, I mean, as manager, I got to put some blame on you because I feel like this all orchestrate together. So, as I hate Al Avila, I hate Osmus. Just, God, I can't stand this Tiger scene.
It really blows my mind, to be honest, that this is really happening. It's like you have all these guys that it's like they're so underperforming, it's not even funny. And you got guys like K-Rod come, and then you got them underperforming, and now it's like, oh, we're gonna make excuses. K-Rod says, oh well, I have all these 400 and something saves, one of the most saves of all time, behind a couple of people, and it's like,
you're like great job. You know what?
Like that was it's like, so we want that K-Rod back. We want that old K-Rod. Now we got the new K-Rod, and we don't like that one.
Sanchez.
That's not what we paid for.
Sanchez was the ERA leader.
18 strikeout game.
Remember that? Yeah, he should be starting.
Yeah, we want that Sanchez back. We got this new Sanchez and this new K-Rod.
Home run
Get him
every
out
pitch.
Here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I found this interesting article the other day that I read, and a lot of people trashed it. I believe it was by CBS Sports, and a lot of people trashed it. And I really thought deeply about this article after I read it, and it kind of made sense, to be honest. And I don't know if you guys will agree with me, but just hear me out. So you have these giant contracts in Zimmerman and Cabrera and Verlander and you have all these massive contracts that are holding you back. And it's like, oh, they're all underperforming, so what do you want to do? You want to sell them. Well, the thing is, nobody's going to be stupid enough to even touch that contract.
Unless you pay for part of it.
Right. But this article was saying the only way this happens is if you pay for part of it and you throw in a guy like Fulmer. You throw in a guy like Norris. You throw in a guy like Boyd. So you give them some incentive saying, here, you can take a guy like Fulmer who's got tons of potential. Looks like he's going to be a star in this league. And he's still super young. But you got to take a guy like Miggy. You got to take a guy like Zimmerman. You got to take a guy like Verlander.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people trashed it saying, how can you get rid of Fulmer? How can he's the ace of this team. He's the only piece you shouldn't be trading. And as much as I agree with that, at the same time, I could see it happening. I wouldn't be totally against trading Fulmer if that meant getting rid of Zimmerman or Verlander or Cabrera and getting rid of that high contracts. Because if not, we're stuck with Verlander, Zimmerman, Cabrera, Upton. Well, maybe not Upton, but definitely Cabrera, Zimmerman, and JV for the rest of their careers. And so this team's not going to go anywhere as much as you're tied back with that money.
Yeah, Fulmer would be the only one, in my opinion, I wouldn't move. But Norris, Boyd, the young guys, I don't mind moving them because what did they do this year for me, right? This is
right, but the thing is, Fulmer's going to give you the most incentive to do it.
Depending on what we got back, I wouldn't say no. That's just me personally, but I can't.
Well, to me,
break down a trade. Like I don't get to pick up the phone.
Right.
know?
To me, it's like you have to give back something decent, obviously, but even decent at best. If that means getting rid of one of those high contracts, to me, it's worth it. Yeah, you got to get rid of a guy like Fulmer, but at the same time, it's like you got to do what you got to do. Like look at the Marlins back when they traded Cabrera. It's like he was a stud for his rookie season. It's like, do we want to trade him?
Exactly.
Not really. But at the same time, look what they got in return. They were getting 2 high first round draft picks.
So which they botched.
Right. But, I mean, at the time, you never know. You got Andrew Miller and you got Cameron Maybin. So it's like, oh, that looks like a solid trade. Cabrera, yeah, he had a stellar rookie season, but you never know if he's going to work out or not. So why not take the deal? So I feel like that I could see it happening. I wouldn't be totally against it, even though a lot of you guys trashed that.
All right. So we're going to move on here. The NBA draft is quickly approaching.
Right, 22nd. Today is the 19th.
So we got 3 days. And Celtics traded their first-round pick to none other than the team that seems to always get the first-round pick, the 76ers.
Who were in the 3rd spot.
Yes. So they move up.
2 spots.
Yep. And did they give up their first round this year?
They did. They gave it. So they basically swapped picks.
Okay, so yeah. They moved down 2 positions. Still can get someone really good in this loaded draft class.
Correct.
But they get a second-round pick next year, I think. Can you pull that up for me? What are we going to be dealing with?
So, honestly, I was kind of confused with this whole thing.
It's a very confusing trade.
But as it says on CBS Sports, it says Celtics and 76ers have agreed to a blockbuster deal. Celtics shipping out the number 1 pick to the 76ers in exchange for the number 3 pick plus another first-round pick, either 2018 Lakers pick if it falls between 2 and 5, or the Sacramento Kings 2019 pick, first-rounder if it doesn't. So honestly, I think it made a little more sense right there. I think they swap the picks, and then the Celtics get a first-round pick in the future, either 2018 or 19. They either get the Lakers pick, first-round pick, if it falls between 2 and 5, and if not, then they get the Kings pick, their 2019 first-round pick, if that Lakers pick doesn't fall between 2 and 5. So essentially, they got 2 first-round picks.
Yeah. So first off, that the management on the Celtics is impeccable. They just every time you think that they have so many draft picks, so here's 10 more.
Yeah, Danny Ainge is doing
he is
fabulous
a machine. Job. He should get, if there was a real award for it, he would get GM of the year every time. But let's break this down to reality. The Sixers have a chance to be very good. I think we can both agree on it. They're going to probably draft Fultz at number 1. More than likely. They're drafting Fultz at number 1. Joel Embiid.
Yeah, that's what all the rumors are saying.
Yeah, Joel Embiid's tweeting photos of them, and I feel like, yes,
right.
They're taking Fultz. Nothing is going to stop them now. And so now with him at 1, the Celtics have more draft picks. Are they going to make another move? We don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. But there has to come a time where they need someone. They need something big soon because you got a lot of talent.
Well, the thing is, they think it's coming because I was looking at some article as well. It might even be this article that I have pulled up right here. It was showing their starting rotation, what it could possibly look like next year. I mean, it's a long shot, but it's definitely not out of the running for happening. So here it is. It says the Celtics could easily run out a starting lineup next year of Isaiah Thomas, Jimmy Butler, Gordon Hayward, Josh Jackson, and Al Horford, which would literally be insane. I think they would challenge the Cavaliers for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Is Josh Jackson projected, or is he projected to?
He's projected to go top 3.
Top 3, okay.
Out of Kansas.
Okay, so that means they're probably not going to trade down. They're probably going to try and draft him at 3.
Well, we never know. It depends what you can get.
Yeah,
they said they might be using some of these picks to try to lure in the Bulls to trade Jimmy Butler.
Exactly. So while I like it, last year I thought we were going to see a Celtics trade, right? I thought we were going to see it. I feel like we have to see something this year. Something where you get a player.
And that's what they want.
Yeah, like they want it, but there comes a time where I'm proud of you for getting all these picks, but I need to see that star player because they can contend. They can contend very quickly if they can pull this off. And this is going to be a really impressive thing if they can do it, because I don't think they'd be able to beat Golden State. But with the Cavs on the decline, I think they could easily take them. So, I don't know. It'll be really interesting. They've got to... Brad Stevens, right? That's their head coach.
Correct. Doing an excellent job, by the way.
A great job. He has all those players playing to full potential. A sign and trade with Isaiah Thomas also, which is as weird as that sounds. I feel like maybe not right away. Like maybe you sign him this year and then you end up trading him, but something has to happen with him, because I feel like or you have to have someone better running at point.
Well, see, the thing is, that's where like I think they did. I think it was like a good move and a bad move at the same time to trade number 1 pick.
Because you had Fultz.
Right, so you could have picked Fultz number 1, and the thing is, with Isaiah Thomas being a free agent I believe at the end of the season, Fultz was the only bridgeway between not having to sign Isaiah Thomas to a $200 million max contract and now having to. Because the thing is, Fultz is considered one of the best. He's considered the best prospect in this draft. He's considered NBA ready. He could start for a team if he needed to.
He has a lot of athleticism.
Correct. And so the thing is, you could have drafted him. The Celtics could have drafted him number 1. Had Isaiah Thomas be a mentor to him, so Isaiah Thomas is the starter and then Fultz the backup for 1 full season, then think, okay, now Fultz is ready to take the starting spot. We won't have to get tied down to Isaiah Thomas, and now we have Fultz. But the thing is, now when you traded that pick, you can't pick Fultz anymore. So now you're almost lured in to give Isaiah Thomas that big contract, because now if you don't sign him, who's going to play the point? And if you don't have a star point guard, you're not beating the Cavs.
I think it's a very interesting conundrum they're in, but at the same time, it's like, wow, how awesome is it to be a
right? They're in a great position right now,
yeah,
and I
to
think
be a Celtics fan, that's a great feeling.
There was a lot of rumors over the past week that the Celtics were actually not even looking at taking Fultz; they were looking at taking Josh Jackson. So the thing is, before the trade, it was Celtics, Lakers, 76ers. Now it's 76ers, Lakers, Celtics. And the thing is, so now the 76ers are almost guaranteed to take Fultz. The Lakers were supposedly taking Ball at number 2. Now they're having a little bit of second thoughts. But as of right now, we can kind of both agree that the front runner looks to be Lonzo Ball. And so the Celtics could still get Josh Jackson, who they were supposedly looking at even more than Fultz, at number 3. And they've gained an extra first-round pick for either 2018 or 2019, which could be used to trade for Jimmy Butler or Paul George, and then you could sign Gordon Hayward in free agency because you have that money. So there's a bunch of different ways they could go here. Honestly, I think this is going to be a pretty exciting draft. Like we said, there's a ton of talent. Not like last year. Last year was very disappointing with the talent in the draft. This year it's stacked from the bottom to the top. It's a stacked draft. And even the Pistons being at 12, we don't know if they're going to make a move or not. They seem to be looking to try to get a NBA veteran kind of win now type of player, as most people are calling it. And like we said, I think we said it in the first podcast we did. They had CBS Sports had them trading up to number 10, I believe, to get either 9 or 10 to get Malik Monk. And honestly, I still think that'd be a good option to do. But with all these trades going on and all these players going in different positions, we could be in for a couple surprises. Now, from the latest draft mock drafts we've been seeing, they had the Pistons selecting Zach Collins out of Gonzaga. So honestly, I'm not sure. I don't think the Pistons have a second round pick this year, which kind of sucks, because I could see us drafting a couple of solid guys in the second round. I know we were interviewing local Central Michigan Marcus Keene. He was being interviewed. I think it was either yesterday or the day before in a pre-draft workout. So I wouldn't even mind seeing him on the Pistons, but we don't have a second-round pick.
Yes. So, barring trades and things that could happen, if the Pistons were able to get Marcus Keene, I was actually just about to bring this up to you. I literally have an article right here. They worked Marcus Keene out 2 times. All right? Something's there, right? I love this guy. I can't tell you what he's going to be in the NBA. He's going to be a catch-and-shoot player, basically, I feel like. But A 0-star recruit that has attended Central Michigan University, the school that I attend, has now worked out with multiple NBA teams, and this has to be a pretty interesting story here.
Well, he's definitely going to get drafted, that's for sure.
I think he could. I can't guarantee it just because of that size. He's 5'9". That scares the living shit out of me. But besides that, I mean, he I don't know if he finished the year as the leading scorer. I don't think he did. He fell off at the end a little bit, but he
was up there.
Over half the season, he led all of college basketball in scoring, averaging almost 30 points a game, which is very impressive. And so for the Pistons to possibly be able to pick him up leads me to believe there's going to be a trade happening where I feel like we're going to get a second-round pick. This is just me like thinking off the top of my head. Second-round pick from somewhere for this year's. And then we're going to get an NBA player right now that's already in the league. And then we draft Keene. If we did that, depending on the player, I would say it's been a pretty successful draft.
So you're saying we would trade our first-round pick and not get a first-round pick in return and get a veteran player?
Yes, a veteran player, second-round pick this year.
Gotcha.
If we did that, we'd have a better three-point shooter than we already have, because Keene can shoot a three. I think we can agree on that. He's like a Steph Curry out there. He definitely doesn't have good ball movement. Definitely can't run a floor. So, I mean, he would be a point guard, but he wouldn't be a point guard. You could probably have the ball run through someone else's hands. You could probably have him and Reggie out there at the same time, maybe over like KCP or Morris if you want to go small for a little while, depending on your matchups. But I mean, that creates a very interesting. It all depends on who we could get. I don't know. Like once again, I can't pull up things that I can say I can trade this for this because I don't know what people are willing to give up for the first. I feel like it's a good first round. I feel like we're in a very good spot to trade that pick because with a very stacked NBA draft class this year, I feel like if we were able to trade it and we could get a pretty good player, maybe get rid of one of our players in sign and trade Pope. Reggie might get traded.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different possibilities.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
I can't tell you what I think's going to happen because I don't know what's going to happen.
Right, I mean, there's rumors about Reggie Jackson possibly being traded, Drummond possibly being traded. You know, KCP's a free agent coming up, so it's like if you sign him, you're going to be over the luxury tax, so possibly him being moved.
There's a lot of pieces that we have to see moving for us to figure this out.
I'm definitely excited for this NBA draft. I mean, I haven't been this excited for an NBA draft in a couple of years. We've already seen the top pick being traded, and we're definitely going to see a couple more picks being traded in the first round, in my opinion.
It's going to be an exciting first round.
So I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited to see what the Pistons do. I'm excited to see what some of these other teams do, and just where kind of these pieces fall.
Yeah. Marcus Keene, the one thing that scares me about him is I didn't like his attitude at Central. From what I heard, because there's apparently some people that knew him because I had classes with, I didn't have classes with him, but I knew people who had classes with him. And listen, I don't know. I don't go to a big school. I can't tell you how all the stars work, but he's a 0-star recruit who had a chance. It basically all rode on this year, him being this good to go into the NBA. And so he didn't, I think he was a junior. He didn't stay for his senior year.
Correct.
And so, a lot of people told me he was kind of a douchebag. And, there's a lot of douchebags in college. So, I mean, I can't hold that against someone and tell you
we don't know from personal experience.
I can't tell you that, I haven't heard many bad things from his teammates. So, I can't tell you. It would worry me a little bit. But I can't guarantee that because, once again, I have not had a one-on-one. I haven't heard players complain about. But that's just something I would want to keep an eye out for. And definitely, it would definitely make me be a little wary of him. And 5'9", God, that is small. That is really small.
Yeah,
that would definitely be the only drawback that would scare me from him.
Yeah, kind of like an Isaiah Thomas almost.
Exactly.
Can't really match up against some of these other quicker.
Especially if they get a switch. God, that's a really bad thing that can happen.
Yeah.
So it all depends how he worked out. I mean, I once again wasn't there for the workouts. So I mean, depending on what he did, what the Pistons saw, we have a very interesting. We can both agree.
Yeah.
NBA draft. It is going to be an exciting night for all Pistons fans.
Right.
But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, that has been it for episode 3 of the DST podcast with Brett and JT. I'm JT Smellick.
And I'm Brett.
Signing off. Have a great day, Detroit sports fans.